Game 15, and the Maple Leafs look to make this one 4 straight wins as they take on the Boston Bruins tonight at home for the Remembrance Day game, taking on the Boston Bruins, who themselves look to make it 6 straight games. 5-game win streak coming into this one, sitting just ahead of the Maple Leafs in the standings in the Atlantic Division, in the Eastern Conference, that is, as well, with 1 more point than the Toronto Maple Leafs. But in today's video, we're going to break down what we've got for tonight's line combinations, who's in, notably who's out, as well as your starting goaltenders and our best bet. I'm Zack Phillips, and today's pregame video is a presentation of Bet365. Let's not waste any more time. Let's head on over to Daily Faceoff and see what we've got for the Maple Leafs lines tonight. Taking a look first and foremost at your first line for the Maple Leafs, sticking together, keeping the big guns on that top line. William Nylander, Auston Matthews, and Matthew Knies remain together against the Bruins here tonight. I think at this point, you're not going to change anything. This has worked. Dating back to that game against the Penguins on Monday, when Berube shuffled things up, decides ultimately to go with Nylander, Matthews, and Knies. Into that third period, after you played maybe the worst 40 minutes of hockey of your lives, you go into the third, and all of a sudden, those guys start clicking, and then they rolled it over against the Mammoth on Wednesday night. You saw them on the board yet again. Matthews, Nylander, Knies, Tavares, all finding ways to contribute and be involved in that game. Why change it? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And right now, it looks like Craig Berube is going to just continue to run it back over and over again until that stops working, and I don't blame him. Look, I have made a lot about the fact that I would rather have them spread things out where, if you're going to go with Knies and Matthews together on the first line, I'd rather see Nylander on the second, or Nylander's going to be on the first one, Knies going to the second line to give you a little bit more of a depth of attack and give you a little bit more room there where you can all of a sudden be looking at it and saying, okay, yeah, you've got wave after wave after wave, line after line after line that's going to come out here, and you're going to have to deal with that one line after the other. You think you've stopped the first one. Well, let's see what you've got here for the second one. The thing is, these guys are rolling right now, and when you do look around the league, it's not like this is all on an island, and it's the only circumstance where you see players being put together who are superstar players. You look at the Edmonton Oilers in particular, Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid, they want to play together. A lot of the times, Chris Nobla ends up putting them together. They would also prefer that they don't, but it's just a matter of when things are hot and trying to get guys going, and also figuring out sometimes the best players going together is just what works because they're the best players. So they're going to be able to figure it out with each other better than anything else. The thing I'll give credit to as we continue on into your second line as well, Brad Treliving's manning the phones. He's looking to move off of pieces like David Kampf, Calle Yarncroke, potentially. Just those guys who are kind of hanging around the outside. We know Nick Robertson's name's being used in trade pieces. But then you're also going and looking on the other side of things where now, you're trying to move off contracts and money. You're trying to add into the top 6. And if you could find a guy, particularly who can play on the right wing in the top 6, that alleviates a lot of pressure, and it gives you more opportunity to put Nylander, Matthews, and Knies together on your first line, and then rely upon player to be named later to play with Tavares and Robertson, or Tavares and McMann, or however you want to break that out, or if that guy can fit onto your first line. But what you have right now is guys stepping up. Bobby McMann playing with John Tavares, playing with Nick Robertson. Nick Robertson has looked good. He looks hungry. Again, he brings it every game. Who knows, at some point, it's probably going to inevitably tail off. That's what happens with Nick Robertson. It's unavoidable that's the way that his tenure has gone here in Toronto. It's really, really good for a bit, and then all of a sudden it's a disappearing act. But the intensity's always there. The effort's always there. It's just what the point production is. Right now, he's looking really good in that top 6, and in particular on that second line with John Tavares and Bobby McMann. McMann, the point I will make about this guy, he has got to continue to build that identity that he's established here of a guy who can be hard on the forecheck, heavy, a little bit more physical, finishing checks, because if he can do that and he wins battles, then he continues to establish the identity in the top 6 that's being established in the bottom 6 when you look at bigger guys like Joshua, Waugh, Domi, Laughton, Lorentz. bigger, at least in the way that they play. I know Domi's a smaller guy, but it's that physical brand, wear you down brand. The Leafs don't have as much of that in the top six, other than really Matthew Knies. You look at more skilled, talented guys around them. If Bobby McMann can go into that top six, contribute offensively, but also play that physical brand, the top six is going to round out pretty nicely, especially as Treliving goes and continues to look for that top six guy to close things off. Down to your third and fourth lines, I did kind of just talk about it and what they are and, what they bring and the identity that these guys have and the culture that's being established here with the Maple Leafs right now. But that third line, Joshua, Waugh, and Michelli, looked a lot better the other day. The game against Utah, Matias Michelli obviously had himself an amazing night and convenient earlier that day in the morning on the morning show. I was talking about how Matias Michelli, I don't know what his ceiling is here. Mind you, that's one game. I did have to eat some crow after that one and watching Matias Michelli score the game winner, get the assist on the Auston Matthews goal. He played great. Will he roll that over? Is that a building block? Is that a point in this season where he's like, I can do this, I can show up every night, I can be that type of guy? Or is that a one-off? Is that was my revenge game? Screw you, Utah. You shouldn't have gotten rid of me. You shouldn't have given up on me. And I'm going to show you in this one game, and that's it. And then we don't see him again until they play the Utah Mammoth the next time. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully it's more this is who he is, and let's build. But we'll find out. We'll see what happens tonight against the Bruins. Your fourth line, Lorentz, Laughton, Domi. So happy Scott Laughton is back. I've talked about it over and over and over again that Scott Laughton would change the bottom six, puts guys back in the right positions, takes pressure off of the third line, continues to kind of round out what you're looking for when it comes to the identity of the bottom six. Bigger, heavier, some skill in there, guys who can score goals, make plays, but it's also guys who are just going to be real difficult to play against. That's currently what you're looking at when you look at Lorentz, Laughton, and Domi there. You've got guys like Laughton and Domi who can score and contribute offensively, but then you've also got the physicality of Lorentz, of Laughton, of Waugh, and Joshua. If those guys are rolling and they play the right way, which we saw them in the game against Utah and in the third period against Pittsburgh on Monday, if they build off of that, the third and the fourth lines are going to be very effective. And that is the type of hockey. That is why they're acquired, is for the playoffs, because that is when it matters. That's when you need that. Yeah, maybe it doesn't look as pretty now because your third and your fourth lines aren't, Alex Kerfoot and Yarncroke and Pierre Engvall all whipping around, skating a million miles an hour, but that never worked. It's time to change things. It's time to understand it's a different culture, a different identity, a different approach to the game. You still have the skill with Matthews and Nylander and Tavares, and you're keeping around Nick Robertson. You got Matias Michelli, but then the rest, the bulk of the group is going to be more physical, heavier, harder to play against. Yeah, they're not the fastest team in the world, but if you play a mean brand of hockey, none of that really matters. Like it just won't matter if you play to the way that you were built to be played. And right now, coming off the last couple of games, they've looked like they're doing it the right way. So kudos to them. Kudos to Brad Treliving. Kudos to Craig Berube for being able to put this group together like this and actually having it be something that's working this way where they establish themselves and all of a sudden you start to see them buy into it. It works. If they don't buy into it, it's not going to work. Let's now get to what we have for the defensive groups for tonight's game. Continuing on here on Daily Faceoff, going down to your D pairings. It looks like Simone Benoit is going to come back. Philippe Myers doing well here in the absence of Chris Tanev in the last game at least. Dakota Mermis, serviceable on Wednesday night. I thought he looked decent. Him and Myers looked okay together. Dakota Mermis is not a guy, in my opinion, that I think is going to stick around here in the NHL, that is, for very long. The game against Buffalo was really, 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 really bad for him. I don't know. Like, Philippe Myers jumping in here has been a good welcome addition. He was pretty good last year. Add some competition to what you're getting out of Simone Benoit, where it's like, hey, there's a guy on your heels. Mermis, I don't know. I don't think he's as much of an option. You're obviously hoping for health for the rest of the guys. Your second D pairing, Ekman-Larsson, Jake McCabe. I think that this is fine. I would rather again, I talked about it on the postgame show on Wednesday, but I would rather in your ideal world, you go with some combination of Riley, Tanev, probably McCabe, Carlo, OEL, Benoit is like the way I would like this shaped out in full health. I don't love the Riley-Carlo pairing together. It just has never felt comfortable. It's always felt like Carlo gets kind of sewered by Riley's decisions, which we've all known that that's going to be the case, but I don't think that he's stable enough to be able to handle that load. I think if he plays with a guy who's a little bit more his pace, his style, that's going to help him more than what you're getting out of Morgan Riley. I just don't think it's the perfect fit for those guys. Now, obviously, you did get the end of the season last year after the deadline into the playoffs to kind of build on it. You get the summer to work on it, and now you're only 14 games into this season. But, and I mean, look, it could change as the year goes on, but it's just not been my favorite D pairing. I just feel like Carlo is not the guy that's like this rock when things go poorly for Morgan Riley. He can get caught up in it as well. Whereas if he gets somebody who's a little bit more cool-headed, stable on the other side of him, his partner, I think that will better suit him. And then I think having somebody who's more stable to go with Morgan Riley will balance him out as well. So Tanev being healthy, huge piece here. You look at the bottom six of the forwards, we all knew what would happen when Laughton came back. It's not looking like that's something that's for sure going to happen when Chris Tanev comes back. But regardless, I do kind of think that there needs to be some shuffling here in the bottom six of these guys, or with the defensive pairings and the six guys that you've got there. Continuing with your power play units, you've got Ekman-Larsson manning that first unit, Morgan Riley manning the second. This will be fluid. You know, we're talking about a power play that has not been good all season long. Power play that has struggled effectively, even dating back to last year. It's the same things that we've seen out of the guys for 9 years going through this. Like, it's just the same over and over and over again, where it's not necessarily that intense, or there's a lack of urgency that goes on with these guys. And hopefully that's something that can change at some point. I feel like the answer to that would be no, it will never change. This is who they are, and I kind of have to accept that. But time being, I can hope that it changes. That's all for your lines here tonight. Anthony Stolarz is your goaltender for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Dennis Hildeby will be backing up. A quick note for people. Caden Primo was claimed today by the Carolina Hurricanes. Caden Primo claimed by the Carolina Hurricanes as he was put on waivers, so he's on his way to Carolina. We know Joseph Woll is returning. He's going to be joining the Marlies here this weekend, so Dennis Hill to be backing up for Stolarz tonight. Does kind of feel like, okay, you're getting back to Joseph Woll returning to this lineup if you're feeling comfortable enough to be waiving Primo, bringing up Hildeby to back up and moving things around that way. So it would indicate to me at least that he's on his way back. Let's now get to our best bet segment for today. Best bets on the air have been doing real well. We're looking to continue that here today. The show is a presentation of Bet365. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app and get in on the game. Use the code NATION, N-A-T-I-O-N. That's code NATION, N-A-T-I-O-N at Bet365. You must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. Okay, best bets on the year. We are down in terms of record-wise. We're 9-12, but it's all about the profits. We are up $330 here right now. A 32% ROI on the season. $330. That would be a 3.3 units. We are up on the year. Let's get to our best bet tonight. It is a heater of a best bet. It is my favorite bet on the board. This number is unbelievable for what we're getting out of the guy, and we're going to go with a big bet on him in this one, given where we're at with our unit sizing throughout the year. We're going to be looking over on Bet365, first of all. The Bruins plus 165. The Maple Leafs heavy favorites here, minus 200, a total of 6. The over minus 105, the under minus 115. But that's not where we're going. We got one bet, keeping it simple. Go to the player props right at the top. Goal scorers, third guy down on the list. William Nylander plus 170 is our best bet. We're going a full unit, $100 on this one. Will profit you tonight $170. That is a profit of $170. It returns $270 to you, but $100, a full unit. William Nylander, anytime goal. Couple things here. The number is really good. Plus 170 on William Nylander, anytime goal. This is a number that we were seeing at plus 170 when they were playing against, some of the better teams that are better defensively. This is a number that it would imply there's less goal scoring and, it's going to be harder for guys to find the back of the net, generate offense, and yet you're getting it against the Boston Bruins, who, yes, mind you, they've looked really good recently. I'll give them that credit, but there's no reason that William Nylander, especially playing on that top line and on that top power play unit and the point production, the pace that he's being on right now, for him to be at plus 170. This is the best number you're going to find across all sports books right now. Nobody else is looking at a plus 170 on Nylander. And then, just straight up outside of the analytical part of it and the number and all that kind of stuff, the vibes of it. William Nylander against the Bruins Saturday night, his buddy David Pastrnak on the other side. Like, everything to this one screams to me, William Nylander gets on the board. He scores here tonight against the Bruins in this rivalry game. So we're going $100 on William Nylander anytime goal against the Boston Bruins. That's our best bet. That is your game breakdown for today. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. Subscribe here to the channel, Leafs Nation 401. Come back here to the channel later tonight for a post-game breakdown for another edition of Leafs Nation After Dark, taking calls from the chat, seeing what you guys are thinking, taking super chats, all of that. Breaking down Game 15 of the Maple Leaf season against the Boston Bruins here tonight. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate all the support. I want to see your thoughts, your comments, your concerns, your predictions, all of it down in the comments below. Thanks for watching. See you guys back here tonight. Until then, keep believing. For more content just like this, including game previews, post-game live shows, Leafs Morning Take Monday through Friday with Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill with special guests, as well as instant reaction videos, make sure to be subscribed here to the Leafs Nation YouTube channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss anything, and drop a like.